I see you. Your eyes. Your hands. Your chips. Everything. So I don't need to see your cards. We play at fulltailpoker.com.
Diego Cordovez.
Adam Schoenfeld.
Welcome to The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker.
Welcome!
We had a young gentleman named David Chicotsky with us last week, and it's been very interesting talking to him about the entire world of online poker. And
this guy's a unique character and a business mind.
So much so that we're bringing him back for part 2, but if you missed part 1, look for it on Card Player TV.
Do me a favor and just describe, because I was amazed when I saw this, and I told Diego, describe just the physical setup of your training facility, because it's to me it's like something out of a James Bond movie, because it's a standard looking Las Vegas house, a nice house, but not the highest end, not the lowest end.
Yeah.
And then you walk in and it's like super high tech and beyond. Describe what I'd see if I go in there.
When I take someone in there, I say, I hope you guys like it, because you're looking at half my bankroll. But basically we have a super high tech facility. We have, I want to say we have 15 30-inch monitors and 12 24-inch monitors throughout 2 main rooms. And basically even the couch, you sit at the couch, you'll have the coffee table with 2 30 inches right there on the coffee table. So anywhere, any seat in the house, there's going to be a 30-inch in front of you. And it's just, it's a great facility in the sense that instead of training 1 at a time, or instead of training 3 or 4 at a time all huddled around me, now I have them spread out through the house, and it's real orderly.
If you go to the bathroom, there's a monitor there too.
Not yet, but we have everything hardwired.
Good thinking.
Yeah, I mean,
we have direct plug-ins everywhere. So yeah, if you have to go to the bathroom,
I call that the leak, because that's in the teaching. Sorry.
Yeah, but going forward in March, we're hoping to open up a facility that's going to hold 100 people. So we're saving our money and dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and getting everything ready. My idea is to have it almost like a strip club, in the sense that it's nice and comfortable. You have the nice leather chairs, you have the nice wraparound couches. Just instead of seeing Motley Crue playing in the 49ers on the big screen, we're gonna have the world-class pros out there on the big screen, things of that nature. So yeah, we're gonna definitely up the ante.
Now the precursor to all this was obviously you playing and doing well and building enough capital to start to branch out into this ancillary income. And what impressed me is the sheer volume of play that you put in over the last couple of years. I mean, that takes a lot of dedication, but what are some of the numbers as far as number of tournaments that you played in a year, in a month? And
last year I played 8,500 tournaments.
Multi-table tournaments.
Multi-table tournaments. My best student, Daisy XOXO, played 10,500 last year.
Right, he laughs at your puny output.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a slacker. But, I was it was a weird mix of just being overly ambitious and trying new things. And, in a lot of ways, I'm very happy with my success, because along the way, I've been experimenting the whole way. Playing ultra tight, playing ultra loose, making crazy moves. I mean, we didn't even know the exact parameters to re-raise. We were experimenting along the way. Obviously, we read the forums, read all the books out there. We tried to get our finger on the pulse at the best as possible. But yeah, I mean, over thousands and thousands of tournaments, I can say, oh, right here I'm beat. How do you know that? Trust me, I've been here before. And the same thing with like the bad beats. Students will say, well, I did this bad beat, I had that bad beat. Trust me, whatever bad beats you've had, times it by about 22, and that's what I've had.
Right.
So yeah, it gives you a better perspective.
No, obviously, to get to that number of tournaments, part of it is playing a lot of tournaments simultaneously. What are other parts of it that you did to condition yourself to
That's
to
a good
put in
question.
that time?
And this is where I've really excelled, is I've had a good support team. I've had Ari as a mentor. I have a Kung Fu instructor. I go 3 or 4 times a week. And we do more than just fighting. We talk about keeping our energy up and keeping our proper mindset and being able to focus. Just a quick example, before I would stub my toe on something or hit my head on something, and I basically have a temper tantrum, and everyone's been there, or you just have this like red flash in your brain, where now, I mean, it doesn't really affect me. I'll hit my head and I kind of laugh like, yeah, it kind of hurt, but I'm used to it at this point. And I eat properly. I take supplements. I take nothing but all whole foods, all organic foods. I try to exercise every single day. When I'm done playing, I'll go for a walk. But I also have 2 assistants at the house, and that's really saved my life. Adam, you know, I always say, don't take my Zach, because I have this wonderful assistant that's like literally a genius. He can figure anything out. You know, your car breaks, and he literally goes in there and, oh, this pulley's a little off, and he pulls it.
Right.
I mean, he can just figure anything out. And, you know, this guy Zach and I hand-built everything in the house. We dreamt this thing up. We built it. It's the only one in the world. I call it the world's first poker bed and breakfast, but these days we're trying to get the guys to stay at the hotels. That way,
the guys were staying in the house for a while.
Some of them were, even now we have some guys staying at the house if they...
That's semi-insane, by the way, David.
I know. Well, we take their driver's license, we make copies of it, and we try to do all the due diligence.
I mean, not necessarily that they're going to kill you, it's just like, I can't stand anyone else even being in my house.
Yeah, well...
Now, that could be my problem.
You know, I don't want to say the same words you said, but at the same time, I've trained someone 12 hours for the day. It is nice when they go home.
Right.
You know, I'm able to go out and get some food with my buddies and have my own time. It's definitely nice.
That's part of the experimentation, just as you guys experiment with the models to play.
Exactly.
You had to figure that out.
Well, and even at this point, we want to give them off time. During the training sessions, they come here, we review for a couple of hours, we do hand history analysis, and we actually have 4 hours of hand history analysis while I'm sleeping. I'll have my assistant run through 4 hours of tournaments I've played. Then I'll take them to lunch. We'll spend a couple hours talking and reviewing. Then I'll play for 8 hours. Afterwards, we'll still have another hour or 2 of downtime, and we'll talk more about poker. So we try to give them more of a complete experience. And just like we talked about the TV leagues and these leagues and those leagues, I also try to mentor them and say, here's what's worked for me. I have a set schedule. I pre-register for my tournaments the day before. I'm used to the tournaments. I know what players are going to be in them, how big the field size is, what the structure is. And you know, that's one of the crazy things is going over the last 18 months, I've maybe had an hour a day of free time per day. I mean...
I was going to say, I mean, it's a miracle you haven't burnt out.
Yeah,
you know, obviously there's the challenge of building the business and there's different aspects, but it seems like I would have burned out long ago, not just playing that many tournaments, but immersing the rest of my life in poker-related things.
I mean, at the beginning of the year, I played a lot less tournaments this year. I started a production company, and I have this virtual training site up, and we're building content on that, and just been doing a ton of networking, getting these other top pros, lining them up, getting them ready for their own training sites online and live. I mean, what we have live here has the capacity to bring in $1 million of profit per year, and I'm just little old me. I'm the Maven. I'm just this high on the totem pole. You can only imagine if someone like a Negreanu or a Helmuth wanted to do this, they could very easily make $5 to $10 million a year if it was done right, just live training. So I want to do a mix of online virtual training with live training, where if you're in love with poker player X, well then you can take his one-day course online, get his base ideas, his system, get all the foundation, and then you can fly to Vegas after you've taken that course and passed his exams. And now that you're up to par, you can go to Vegas 4, 5, 6, 8 days.
For live training.
I've already scheduled a guy in October for the entire month. So, and I've done that before. I've trained a D player for 5 weeks straight, and he went home the very next week and won a World Series circuit event. And just a normal guy, a farmer in Iowa. So it's...
Where would you put Adam? I have to know there.
David hasn't observed my
David called you a D player earlier. When I was getting the camera set up.
That's not true. No, I mean, I think that he's got great capacity, and same type deal, if he gave me 20, 30, 40 days to help him. And that's the thing, it's not just me. I'm going to put you in touch with Ari, I'm going to put you in touch with Daisy, I'm going to put you in touch with all the other pros. And that's one thing I have nice going for me. You go through Ari's cell phone, and it's just a Rolodex of who's who,
Right.
especially in the online world. And, you know, that's something I can do for someone like Adam. Is like, I patch them up.
I like to just
Let's
pick on
shift the
Adam.
focus
It's-
right for me.
We need to shift.
So, do you see yourself, you know, you have all these ambitious business ventures, and they actually sound promising, because usually I hate most business ideas. Do you think you'll be playing less, or do you still have the passion to play poker in 30 tournaments a day?
I love poker. I want to be able to play just the biggest buy-ins, online and live, playing less, doing more business ventures. I mean, the reality is, look around here, I mean, it's a bigger business than it is just playing. And unfortunately, for a lot of the online players, they haven't been very ambitious, and I feel like in a lot of ways I have a big head start, not only with the training center, but with the production company I've set up, and with the contact list. I've got a Rolodex that's, you know, this high, just business cards.
Well, I would take a contrary view in the sense that old school pros actually were obsessed with just maximizing their own gain. It's actually the new school guys who started all the training sites that we see out there and that have proliferated. And the new school guys also really turned poker forums into a big deal, which wasn't the case before. And to someone who's been playing for a while, it was shocking when on the forums people would put out entire hand histories and very good commentary and analyze and
Yeah.
help each other.
That was revolutionary.
This is really, it's like a new culture, and younger guys come from a different culture, different background, which is more, hey, it's going to help me to help others, and there's a lot of benefits. So you've taken it in a different direction, and which is very innovative. But I mean, if it weren't for this new generation, there'd be no training sites or really valuable forums.
Well, it's interesting. If you go to a Card Player Europe, there's literally no training sites in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's a big market, and it's an ever-expanding market. I like the idea that you can go to a college campus, you can go to a, you know, even a city that has a lot of colleges in it, like where I'm from, Texas, Austin. University of Texas is a huge college.
Yep.
And, you know, just talking to fraternities, sororities, things of that nature, it's so easy to drum up business and to expand the poker economy.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my main goals, is to expand the poker economy. And like I said, even if I have to give away a 1-hour intro to No Limit Texas Hold'em for $1, you know, that's something I'm prepared to do. And hopefully that'll help build my brand, it'll help promote my students, and ultimately make us all a little bit more money because it's expanding the economy.
That's a legitimate answer to the complaint of everyone getting better, because if you are expanding the pie at the margins, there's always newer players who are.
course.
So that is a legitimate answer.
It's indisputable that to train people to be able to break even is best for everybody, because instead of people losing, now they can hold their own. If they can hold their own, they're going to keep playing. If they keep playing, the games are going to expand. It's when you take people who are very good players and give them knowledge that's going to make them into winning tournament players, then you're actually going to come up and butt heads against them. Because
Yeah, I mean, that's
they're
what's
gonna get to
scary.
the
You get a
same
guy
level.
like Daisy XOXO or Sublime, they're killing cash games before I met them. They just don't understand anything about tournaments. They didn't know at 20 blinds or at 30 blinds what to do, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. So yeah, you take a guy like that, and in 1 week, it's all of a sudden they're monsters, and now they're making so much money, I'm jealous. But
There
yeah,
are two sides of that coin.
the average guy that I'm training is either break even or losing, and unless they put in a ton of work, training with myself, training with other people, playing constantly, even with all the help, it's still hard to win. It's a very tough environment online.
The one thing I like, and just before we wrap up, I'm interested in delving a little more into the techniques that you use. The one thing I like is that you're taking a lot of the emotion out of it, and a lot of even the judgment out of it.
Yep.
You're coming up with, it sounds like, systems where you're taking certain criteria, certain inputs, and coming out with an answer and taking all the emotion out of it. There's a lot of analysis and a lot of work that needs to be done, but you don't get into a situation where, well, I'm going to look at this as if it's the first time that I'm in this situation, and what do I want to do? I mean, you make it unemotional, and then that also rids people of tilt problems and other,
That's
or just fear problems that some people have. They
Exactly.
know they're supposed to do something instead of,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to move in here, I might get aces next hand.
Well, I tell them, it's kind of like when I first started playing, I was a total nit, and I would say, in this spot, what would Ari do? He says, what would Jesus do bracelets? That's kind of like, what would Ari do? And, I was very risk adverse, and I would say, oh, I don't want to make this play, but I know he would, so I would do it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, by setting parameters and letting them know, hey, with this chip stack you can re-raise if this guy has a 15 or 20% pre-flop raise, or you give them all the parameters, and yeah, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, a lot of the gray area out of it, and there's no more mental burden. If you made the play, you only made the play because you were convinced it was profitable.
Because you're supposed to make it.
Yeah, exactly. If you run into aces, it's none of your business. And if you suck out, it's none of your business. Just try and relax, and whatever happens, happens. Do the best you can. When you're playing 20, 30 at a time like I was doing, you really can't be emotional. It's like you're going into a fight, and if you win the fight, you immediately have to fight someone else. Well, you have to be a cool customer. And I think that all this poker training has allowed me mentally, like my brain waves are way different than they were a couple years ago, where I could, in theory, be a race car driver, or a professional fighter, or even in academics. I think I could do way better in college now than 5 years ago when I did go to college, just because my mindset's so much better.
I have no doubt you'll continue to succeed, and hopefully people will check out the Maven VT. It's been very interesting talking to you.
Appreciate it.
And thanks for coming by. Thanks for
David.
joining us on The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. Write to us at The Scoop at cardplayer.com.
I'm about to tell you a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Fact or fiction, doesn't matter. It's all how I tell it. We play at fulltiltpoker.com.